It's a very easy drinking wine.
Winery place. They are producing wine here. And so many kinds there is.
The grapes are taken off the stems, and white wine is fermented by extracting just the juice. Normally you only ferment the white wine juice. Like these wines are made by putting these grapes straight in the press. And the press is like this, is like an empty space, you see? We fill it with grapes. This is closed normally, and then this goes down with a lot of power. It has a lot. Some of your scuba diving maybe. It has 250 bars. No? In scuba diving you go to 3-4 bars, no? Maximum. Okay. The white wine goes in steel tanks. They are cooled down. You see, there's a small space between the steel and the tank, which is filled with ice water, very cold water. So the fermentation takes longer. Longer means you have more time to develop interesting things in the wine. So it becomes more complex and it becomes nicer wine. Red wine is made slightly different because the grape of a red wine has no color. It's all the color is in the skin, and it's very hard. I get you a red wine grape just to show you. We have it in the fridge. And the berry, you see, the flesh is white.
It's white. Okay.
So if you press it straight away, it's the vessel used throughout the Mediterranean for whatever, 2,000 years. And many like house wineries still use them in Portugal. And it became very fancy in the last couple of years that everyone wants to rediscover the traditional vessels. And they make really nice wine. The technique is slightly different. You put all the grapes in here, even white wine, and the fermentation finishes and you leave the grapes in there. So the wine is with the skin for another 2 months, till today actually, St. Martin. Today is the day of St. Martin. That's the classical day to empty these. And you would open here and let it trip out very slowly. So all the wine goes once again through the skins. And there's a big festival of Amphora, World Amphora Day in Alentejo on Saturday. But we will go. You can come and it's open to. So we get the grapes in these boxes. The whole bunches go in here. And this machine, it's a very small. This winery is compared to big industry. It's very small. These hands, they beat the bunches, and the berries fall out here, and the stems fall out behind. So it separates stem from berries. And then we put a big pump under there. These wines were made by our kids. we have 2 daughters, and they had their school classes here. They were foot threading, and the parents, they always asked, "Is the wine ready?" Put it in oak barrels. You all know a very young red wine. It's very aggressive in the mouth. It gives you the impression of that it's dry because there is a molecule in. It's called a tannin. People always talk about the tannin and the short tannin and the long tannin. And short tannin is actually a molecule that is, imagine dogs at the beach. It's a polarized molecule, so it wants to connect, like the dogs want to run and play, and the tannins want to connect. If you drink it, they attack proteins in your saliva, and that makes this mouth dryness feeling. In wine, we want one tannin to bind to another, and they will form long chains. But for that you need oxygen. So you always have like, I can just throw this away. You have one tannin, one oxygen, one tannin, one oxygen. So they make long chains. And in wine language, you pass from a short tannin to a long tannin. So it's no longer aggressive in the mouth, and it's a long molecule, so it makes the wine more viscous, gives it more structure and body. And that is what happens in oak barrels, because they're porous, it's wood, and oxygen can get in very small doses. and that allows wine to age slowly. That's what we do here in aging cellar. We just left these outside because Belém is very humid in the winter, so it doesn't matter if they go in here or there, because we work with the others. Another thing we do that we can open later is like a bubbly, like a champagne style. Champagne is made by producing a base wine, and the base wine is like a normal wine, but you kind of imitate the weather of Champagne, which is really bad, a lot of rain, and the berries normally don't fully ripen. So you take the berries off the field premature. So you imitate champagne. And the wine itself is not very nice. But then you put in sugar and yeast, and this wine will ferment a second time in the bottle and develop like yeasts, and the yeast will consume the sugar that you put, create CO2, which make the bubbles, and then the yeast will die, settle down, and see like this. You see?
Okay.
Can you see? It's hot against the light.
Ahí sí fermentado, ahí está. Sí, sí.
The yeast.
Sí.
And
Los pozos.
Champagne in France.
Okay, what is this?
Yeah. Anyway, but I'm screaming about bloody murder because he's
It's like this.
to go. And I'm like, Anyways, then we turn the corner to head up closer to the house. They're bubbly.
Just telling
There should be a special warning on the bottom.
This is like a champagne.
Oh. Cheers.